True. Nervous. Very dreadfully nervous I have been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. I heard all things in heaven and all things in hell. How then, am I mad? Hearken, and observe how healthily, how calmly it can tell you the whole story. I loved the old man. He had never wrangled me. He had never given me insult. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was his eye. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, pale blue with film over it. Whenever it ran upon me, my blood ran cold, and so, by degrees, ever so gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and rid myself of the eye forever. Now you fancy me, mad. Madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. What with foresight, what with caution, how wisely I went to work. Every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it, oh so gently. Then, when it was open, just enough, I put in a closed, dark lantern and thrust my head in. Oh, you would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust my head in. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening. I moved it slowly, so very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man. Then I undid the lantern, oh so cautiously. A single ray fell upon his vulture eye, his evil eye. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph, for he had no idea of my secret deed or thoughts. I fairly chuckled, and perhaps he heard me. Now, you may think that I drew back, but no, his room was as black as pitch. I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, so I kept pushing on it, steadily, steadily. But then my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening of the lantern, exposing the old man fully. The old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?" The eye, the vulture. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. Then my overly acute senses heard a low, dull, quick sound, the man's heart. It increased my fury. The hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker, quicker, louder and louder. The sound would be heard by a neighbour. The old man's hour has come. I threw open the lantern and leaped through the door. He shrieked once, and once only. In an instant I dragged him to the floor and pulled the blanket over his face. I smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. At length the beating ceased. The old man was dead, stone dead. I placed my hand upon his heart. No pulsation. His eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe to you the wise precautions I took for the concealment of your body. I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head, arms, legs. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited between the scantlings. I then replaced the board so that cleverly, so cunningly, that not even his eye could detect it. There was no stain to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatever. I had been too wary for that. A tub had caught all. As I made an end of these labours, there came a knocking at the door. I went to open it with a light heart, for what had I to fear? In came one man who introduced himself as an officer of the police. A shriek had been heard. I bade them welcome and invited them in. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man, I said, was absent of the country. I bade him search well. The officer was satisfied. My manner had convinced him. But ere long I fancied a ringing in my ears. It continued. It gained definitiveness. It was then realized the sound was not within my ear. The sound increased, and what could I do? I gasped for breath, but it increased still. I arose and argued without trifles, with violent gesticulations. I paced the floor with heavy strides. I could bear this torture no more. "Villains!" I shrieked. I admit the deed, tear up the planks. Hear, hear, it is the beating of this hideous heart.